We are finishing this beautiful portrait, and as an every step at the end there is some color corrections or toning of the image, and truth be told, I would not change anything here because you have to admit it just looks really great. But I'm going to show you a few simple steps that I'm actually using for all kind of retouching at the end when I want to balance between tones. I really like this. I'm not going to show you maybe all of the steps because there is actually plenty of things you can use. You can use selective color, gradient map you can use, but I don't really like this, so I'm even not going to recommend you this. From my personal favorites, that would be selective color, color balance, also hue saturation, super powerful. And for sure I'm going to show you some tricks with hue saturation that I like to use, probably some with beauty retouching, really cool things with hue saturation when it feels you cannot do many things just balancing with saturation, but no. And of course curves, levels, and all sort of stuff. It's very important to learn some of the color theory for balancing with colors. Basic theory is about opposite colors work well together. So for example, for the shadows you have blue colors, for the highlights more likely you would like to have yellows, oranges, and these sort of colors. But I'm going to discuss this a little bit deeper with you and show you how the color wheel actually works. But for this, let's go with this idea that opposite colors work well together, not in every case, because you can have very analogic colors on the image and they will be looking great, but that's very good starting point to know what you have. So what I would do over here, let's think about our tones. I would open a color balance, which is my favorite, and I'm going to create two layers. One, let's call shadows. I'm going to just press the number S, I like this, and highlights as an H. And what I'm going to do, similar as I was doing before, I'm going through image, apply image, and here of course it will not be this adjustments, it will be as a multiply, and hit OK. I could press invert now because as you can see it's for shadows. Now it represents my highlights, so I'm just going to invert this. Let's copy this and apply this into highlights now to invert, and we have our highlights and shadows. The mask looks like this. This represent our shadows, this represent our highlights. But that our highlights are actually on the background. That would be more suitable if that would be our shadows. But with this theory, the best would be, as we have a lot of highlights on the background, I would go with highlights and see how blue color works. So we have really nice, would have really nice bluish background now. And for more the skin tones over here in the shadows, I would maybe try to go with some yellow colors. It's not necessarily said that it would look great, but actually it works. As you can see, it really looks great. I'm not saying it looks good for this certain image, but it would do the job. I don't want to keep this like that because even if these two colors are complementary with each other, blue and orange is over here, so image is standing out, although it doesn't suit for the image itself because it wasn't at the beginning, at the base of this image, right? So actually this one would look really great over here, but as I mentioned, it's not the base of the image to make it look like this. Let's have a look. That would be before and after, even though after I feel looks a little bit better. But what I'm going to try to do, let's go back to the 0. I'm going to try to make slightly soften balance between them. So as you can see, I really work it easy way. There is a lot of experimenting, trying with colors, and that's really important. You have to be brave when you're trying with colors. Maybe not that brave when you work with portrait image to not destroy the image, but yes, let's start to do something, actually, to plan something. So I will go with shadows, and for shadows I really like to apply slightly blue color. It's sort of opposite as I was showing you before, but also what I'm going to do, I'm going to change blending mode to color, because when I change to color, similar as when I'm working with lights and I change to luminosity, I don't affect the colors. Right now I only affect the colors, switching blending mode to color, and it doesn't affect the light, so I'm not actually working with contrast right now. So I add a little bit of blue. Don't want to add too much. Let's see, before, after, it looks alright. And also, I believe maybe I could affect a little bit of the midtones in these shadows, some areas. Let's have a look if I can do this. Not really much. So I would create one more color balance over here. Color. And M like midtones, and I would try to apply a little bit of the yellow color, just a little bit. So I'm just even going to reduce opacity so the midtones look slightly warmer. And then I'm going to highlights. Also I'm going to switch into color, and let's work with highlights. And for highlights I would apply little bit of cyan, I believe. I have to experiment with that, and I feel cyan do the job. So I'm not actually going so much with the complementary colors, but I'm going actually with what I have of the image. And you have before and after. I believe that the tones work really so much better now. I actually don't think the yellow midtones do the job, so I will remove this because I already apply a little bit over here and it looks great. So very simple step. I'm going to call this colors, and as I said, the image looked before really nice, though now I try to just manipulate a little bit with this. I believe a little bit too much for the highlights. And I said to you that this background could actually got a little bit more bluish. It already got blue, so maybe I would not add that much. But there would be a very simple trick, and I'm going to show you this. Whether you can use actually everything, whether you could use selective color or color balance once again, or anything else. So like we could try maybe with something different, but color balance will be actually very good for it. So I'm going to call it BG, like background, and let's go to select and to color range. And color range is super powerful if it's about selection, not necessarily any specific color that exists over here, because it allows you to choose reds, and this mask over here represents where reds are located on your face, the same as highlights. But we could also choose our own colors. So when I choose sample colors and I hit on the background, as you can see, it really nicely can locate the colors that exist on the image. So if I could choose also this plus and try to locate the colors that exist over here, and it's not really perfect, so let's try once more here. Okay, and that's too much. This corner, but let's go with that. And what I would do here, I don't want this face, so I would rather cover this with black color. I'm trying to do this quickly because this is just showing you some experiments and how you can work with that. And for sure, I'm going to work with that later. So like this is just quick show off for you, maybe like if you would need that, just in case. I'm going to change the brush because this one doesn't cover that well. It's too soft. I should be careful on the edges, but the main reason is, as always, don't want to waste your time. So okay, let's cover here. And this is not maybe perfect image for doing that because we have the similar colors everywhere. That complicates the color work. And it's okay, we pretty much did good selection on the background. And if I would like to make this a little bit more blue, look, you can just have a look what I would do. I would go more like this. And right now with this simple trick, no much effort, my background has more blue color. And I believe it just, with this simple trick, it looks a little bit more better. We have yellow, orangey tones on the face and nice blue colors going on the background. So these are the tricks I wanted to show you. That's our portrait image. We could, of course, hit all of this, shift and selecting all of the layers and groups, control or command G. And this is our edit. So after raw processing, we had this. Now we are here. Very soft, very natural, I believe. And our model is maybe even a little bit more pretty.